Well, and welcome back. And I have today the studio series, Transformers the Movie, Decepticon Rumble, and they list this as the blue version, I suppose, to deal with any debates. But looking at the packaging, we have a nice illustration up here. We have the full cardboard packaging rather than any plastic. We have the back, which just explains what it does, and some more illustrations. So anyway, let's get this guy out of the package and see if he's worthy of our collection. And here we have Rumble out of the packaging, and I'll say this, two things. One, looks great. Two, super tiny, which we do expect from a cassette, but I'm still not fully used to paying $10 for these very tiny figures. But it's just how things are going, and we're going to have to get used to it. Now, we have a couple things here. So we have the accessories, which we'll get into in a second, or at least the pylons. But we have these back guns, which actually have mounting points that can go here. And they use the 3mm pegs, which you could use in core class figures. So there's some versatility there. For articulation, we have a little bit of a head movement. It's on a ball joint, you can see back here. We have a hinge at the shoulder, which is really tight, and then a ball joint at the end of that peg that lets us rotate. Hands can move in for transformation, and we have movement at the hip. We have ball joint in the knee, and toes can move in, but there is no tilt. I don't know if that would have been better to put that on a ball joint to get that, but it is what it is. The only gripe I'll make about articulation, and honestly, I really feel like they could have done this, is the fact that there is no elbow articulation. It is just forward. That's it. I mean, we just have these stiff arms here. And that is a minor gripe, especially since this is just going to be sitting on a shelf, but it is something that you want to be aware of. Now, the main reason that is a gripe is because I have the Dr. Wu Optimus Prime here, which is actually a little bit smaller, and he has a lot more articulation. But, of course, this is a much more expensive figure, but I'm just pointing out they could have put elbows in there. It could have been there. Now, for the other accessories, we have our power driver pylons here. As you can see, there's a gap in there. So all we need to do is do that, fold the hands down, put the arms in, and done. And if you think it's better visually the other way, you could do it the other way. I think I prefer it myself with the arms turned backwards because you don't have the hollowness that's in there. And there we go. I mean, that's all there is to it. It would have been nice if there was maybe a spring mechanism in there. But the fact that we get this in this day and age when cassette players are just not a thing, that's pretty great. And it stands very well. It pulls off the look. It does what it needs to. But let's go ahead and do some comparisons. You already saw him with Dr. Wu's Optimus Prime. Here are the Masterpiece versions. And I brought both of them out because I have the red one with the pylons and the blue one without. I think it really captures the look. It actually looks a little bit more tuned than these do. And I feel like I could fiddle with this one and not have to worry about breaking it like I might with the Masterpiece versions. And then we have the players themselves. Don't hate the players, hate the game, you know. Now let's go ahead and check out the transformation. Once we take off the weapons and pylons, we can transform into something that we're going to have to explain to the current generation. Shoulders pop up like so. Hands fold in. The tricky part here is since the knees are on a ball joint, you kind of just got to make sure things are lined up in the right way. And there's little tabs in here so you know that things are going where they're supposed to. And that is it. That is a very simple transformation into a cassette tape if you didn't know what that was. There is some nice metallic silver paint on here, some blue paint. These are not going to be perfect because they're so small, but neither were the original ones. They did probably look a little bit more like cassettes in the 80s, but we've had to sacrifice a little bit for the robot mode. But that's the cassette. And if we go over here to Soundwave, we can pop this guy out, pop this guy in, and he fits in there just nicely. However, I like this one so much that he is going to stay out in robot mode, where this one, frankly, is not better than the old classics one we got. So I just keep him in the chest because it just kind of makes Sound Alive look a bit more complete and visually appealing. Now, just be aware that the accessories for this figure are going to have to be stored elsewhere since there's nowhere to go in cassette mode. So anyway, that is the Blue Rumble. Let us know in the comments below if you think this is worthy of your collection. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time.